asked my roommate to move out after she got a cat without asking me first, and now all our mutual friends are saying I'm being unreasonable and petty over an animal. My roommate Becca and I have lived together for almost 3 years. We met through a mutual friend and needed roommates at the same time, so it just kind of worked out. We're not best friends, but we've always gotten along fine. Split bills evenly, respected each other's space. It's been a good living situation overall. About 6 months ago, we renewed our lease for another year. When we first moved in together, we talked about the apartment rules, and one thing we both agreed on was no pets. I have pretty bad allergies to cats specifically, the kind where my eyes swell up and I get congestion and headaches. I told her this when we were looking at places, and she said she wasn't a pet person anyway, so it was never an issue. 3 weeks ago, I came home from visiting my parents for the weekend, and there was a cat in our apartment, an actual cat, sitting on our couch like it lived there. I stood in the doorway completely confused, and Becca came out of her room all excited saying, "Surprise! Meet Oliver!" I asked what was happening, and she explained that her friend's cat had a litter of kittens a few months ago and Becca had been visiting them. She fell in love with one of them and decided to take him home. She said it was a spontaneous decision and she'd brought him home the day before while I was gone. I reminded her that we'd agreed on no pets and that I'm allergic to cats. She said she knew, but that she'd read online that some people's allergies get better with exposure, and she thought maybe if the cat was here I'd just adjust. She also said she'd keep him, mostly in her room, and would vacuum constantly, and it would be fine. I said that wasn't how allergies work and that she should have asked me before bringing a cat into our shared apartment. She got defensive and said it was her apartment too, and she had the right to make decisions about her own life. I said yes, but not decisions that directly affect my health and living situation. That first night, I could already feel my allergies kicking in. My eyes were itchy and I kept sneezing. I took Benadryl and tried to sleep, but I could hear the cat meowing and scratching at Becca's door. By the morning, my face was puffy and I felt miserable. I told Becca the cat had to go. She started crying and said she'd already bonded with Oliver and couldn't give him up. She said she'd try harder to keep him contained, that she'd get air purifiers, that she'd do whatever it took. I said that wasn't good enough and that she'd brought him home knowing I was allergic, which was incredibly disrespectful. She kept the cat. Over the next 2 weeks, my allergies got worse, not better. I was taking allergy medication daily and still feeling awful. Cat hair was everywhere, despite Becca's promises to clean constantly. I'd find it on the couch, on my clothes, even in my bedroom somehow. I started spending more time out of the apartment just to get relief. I finally told Becca that either the cat goes or she needs to find a new place to live. She was shocked and said I couldn't just kick her out over a cat. I said I wasn't kicking her out, I was giving her a choice, and that she'd created this situation by getting a pet without permission when she knew I was allergic. She said I was being cruel and unreasonable, that people live with allergies all the time, and I could just take medication. I said I shouldn't have to be medicated in my own home because she made a selfish decision. She said I was asking her to choose between her home and her cat, and that wasn't fair. I gave her until the end of our lease, which is 7 months away, to either rehome the cat or find a new apartment. She chose to start looking for a new place, and she's been cold to me ever since. She told our mutual friends what happened, and now I'm getting texts from people saying I'm being heartless. One friend said lots of people manage their allergies and I'm being dramatic. Another said I should be more flexible since Becca has been a good roommate otherwise. Becca's sister called me and said I'm forcing her to uproot her life over a cat and that I should just deal with it for 7 months and then we can go our separate ways. My boyfriend thinks I'm in the right, but my own sister says I'm being too rigid and that I should compromise somehow. The apartment feels tense now. Becca barely speaks to me. She's actively apartment hunting, but keeps making comments about how hard it is to find places that allow pets and how much more expensive everything is. I feel guilty but also angry that I'm the one being made to feel bad when she's the one who violated our agreement.